Hi, I'm Jeff Brown, President and CEO of the Illinois CPA Society, and I'm excited to be joined today by Jonathan Hauser, CPA, partner at KPMG, and our new board chair for this conversation with the chair. Jonathan, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And we started this series about 4 years ago to get an opportunity to learn more about our new volunteer leadership. And I'd like to start off by learning a little bit more about your journey. So I've been told that you grew up in Northwest Illinois, and you made your way to Windy City. Can you talk about moving from farm country to the city? How did you get here?
Yeah, so it's a good question. We got an hour and a half, 2 hours to go through this, right? So,
but then you're gonna have to explain the mechanics of milking a cow.
Yeah, exactly, and we don't want to go there. So it's been quite a great journey. Growing up on a farm, got exposed to hard work, understanding what it means to work long hours, but also quickly understood some things I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. Saw, the financial struggles that came with being a farmer. The cows are always there. You always have to show up. They've got to be milked twice a day. So I think, going from that, I quickly had an opportunity in high school to work at a bank, take some accounting classes, and found that, hey, business is kind of where I think I fit a little bit better. I remember I was probably 10 or 11. I told my dad, I don't think farming's for me. And he said, that's fine, that's good, find something better. But it's great. I still have family that all continues to farm today, and it's great to get back out there and be able to be part of that life as well. At least feel like I'm part of it, even though I don't do any of the hard work anymore. So then moving through high school, I chose to go to Eastern Illinois University for my undergraduate degree. They had a great accounting program, they still do, and was really mentored well there. And then I had a desire to get my master's. I'm kind of a first-generation college-bound person in my family, and no one else had a master's. It was always something that I thought was, enticing to me, and it would meet my requirements to sit for the CPA exam. So Eastern didn't have a master's program that I was interested in, so I used that as an excuse to look at all schools outside of the Midwest, and Florida looked like a great place to go. So I had been accepted there, and so I was packing my bags and ready to head down to Florida for my master's in accounting. And I happened to have an opportunity to interact with some of our accounting advisory board members at EIU, two of which were partners at KPMG at the time, David Herring and Jeff Bierman. And they just spent time with me and got to know me and opened some doors for me that most wouldn't have had opportunities to talk with Big Four accounting firms at a school the size of EIU. And literally the day before I moved to Florida, I had an opportunity to come to Chicago and do some leadership training with KPMG. There were some mock interviews involved in that leadership training. I had a great 2 days, said thank you, moved to Florida and started school. And I was like, all right, I'm going to finish up school. I'm going to find a job down here. I'm going to live south in the warmth and enjoy myself. And the first week of school, I got a phone call from KPMG saying, hey, you did a great job on those interviews. And I said, I thought those were mock interviews. There is no such thing as a mock interview, Jeff. So they sent me an offer letter for a full-time position. And, being a farm kid, it was more money than I had ever dreamt of. It was a great firm. I had got to meet a lot of people and said, sign me up. And so I finished up my grad school year at Florida and then moved to Chicago and started working in the big city. And I've been here now for 18 years and have worked my way through the firm, and it's been a great and rewarding experience, and it's amazing all the people I've gotten to work with throughout that time.
Very good. Do you miss the Florida weather?
Right now, yes, right? It's freezing outside. I'm so missing it right now, but after being there for a year, getting back to having the four seasons, I did miss that. I miss there's a culture of the Midwest that's, it's familiar, so it's comfortable. But I think there's so many pleasant and enjoyable people to interact with here in Chicago and in the Midwest overall. I don't mind being here. I like it.
Very good. I know this is your video, but I had the same experience. I moved to Chicago in 2006. I thought it was just going to be for a year, and we've been here ever since. There's just something about the Midwest, the values, the people, that it's infectious.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So there's something that you mentioned that I'd like to pick up on, the fact that you're on the accounting advisory board for EIU. Why do you think it's important for professionals like yourselves to give back in that fashion?
Yeah, I've been extremely blessed by the amount of people who have helped me throughout my career. I mentioned David and Jeff; they were big factors. I've had other partners at the firm at KPMG that have, provided me with opportunities. A lot of times people say, "Well, they gave me this opportunity." Well, nobody really gives you anything. It's still on you to be actionable and take advantage of a situation. But I've had people that have had my career at heart and thought through and gave me opportunities for me to seize upon. And so I can really appreciate that. There was one partner in particular, this was right maybe after the recession in 07, 08, and, wanted to make sure that I knew how valued I was within the firm, and found out that we both like to hunt. And so he found out that we had some ground out in Northwest Illinois. And so he said, "Hey, have you ever been turkey hunting?" I said, "No." He's like, "Let's go." And he came out and spent the night at my family farm, and we hunted for a day and spent the evening and got out in the woods. And he had an opportunity to tell me, the, value that he and some of the other partners saw in me, the opportunity and potential that they had. And that was huge. And our profession is really one of stewardship. And I've really come to appreciate that as I've had more and more experiences of, I'm only as successful as the people on my team, the people that are coming behind me. And it's, part of my duty and my responsibility to make sure that I'm pouring back into their lives so that I can pull them along just as others have pulled me along ahead of time. And I think that's where it's really important as a profession that we are investing in other people, because we need to find a way to encourage people, to build them up, to give them the skills they need to be successful, because we're only going to be as successful as those that we're working with and working for.
I think that's really one of the most important leadership lessons that you can take away from this part of your career. And it's really important to remember to tell people that. When I was leaving my last job before I started with the society, there was this whole award tour and a lot of thank yous and a lot of accolades. And I kept reminding people that any professional success that I had was because of the people around me. So I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. You got involved with ICPAS as a young professional and have continually served in a variety of capacities ever since. How important do you think volunteerism and advocacy work is, not only in the profession, but also for one's own success?
Yeah, I just think volunteering and giving back is something that helps keeps us grounded, helps us keep humble. Remember, it's not about me at the end of the day, right? There's something bigger at work. I do have to give, a little bit of credit and a thank you out to Jacqueline Burke-Babb, who used to work for the society. A big reason I got plugged in, somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, would you like to come to this? Would you like to then, after attending a few events, join this committee or this task force?" And really has just, was this first door that opened to volunteering with the society. And I saw it as a great way to get to meet some other people in the profession. But I quickly realized, hey, there's a lot more that I can be doing. And just by being involved in the society, sharing my opinion, hearing the opinions of others, right? So important to get a different perspective. I've got my experience that I've got experiences in a small town in rural Northwest Illinois. I've got now almost 20 years of experience in some, very urban Chicago. And I think being part of the society has given me the opportunity to say, hey, I've been part of a big firm my entire life, but it's really important for me to understand the issues that small firms are facing, people in the private industry are facing. And I think volunteering in a capacity like this and others really helps, formulate those perspectives, helps you appreciate, and have some compassion for what other people are going through, and helps you maybe speak into those situations a little bit more informed and with a little bit more empathy.
I like that. When you're sitting at the board table, you have to look at the organization and the people that we serve through a number of lenses, and being able to understand their circumstance relative to your own is really what real leadership is all about. So let's talk a little bit about how you feel about relationships. A couple of weeks ago, I was making a phone call, your name came up, and I was clued into something that I didn't know. So I know that you're big on the importance of relationships, and I understand that you made one really special relationship thanks to the profession. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I presume you're referring to my wife. So my wife and I met at KPMG. It was kind of funny. So she had actually left the firm and had gone into industry for a short period of time. And during that time, I had started. She, ran her course on that opportunity and really felt called to come back to KPMG, and so she did so. We got to know each other. We worked on an audit together, so we were putting in some long hours out off of 294, where the now Horizon Therapeutics office building is, and where the Astellas building is, and spent a lot of hours out there, and but nothing serious. So we had a really good working relationship, got to talk and everything else. One week, we started talking about what we had going on for the weekend, and came to find out, well, one of her plans was the same as mine, which was we were going to the same church together. We didn't even know it. It's a pretty good sized church. And so then we started to get to know each other a little bit outside of the professional world. And, one thing led to another. Still, everything remained very platonic and professional until she decided to leave the firm. She was going to go pursue a new opportunity. And all of a sudden it was like this veil got lifted between us, where it was like, I know you really well. We've been able to have conversations without any premonition of thinking that we were ever going to go out or anything else like that. And we just really clicked. And so now this summer we'll celebrate our 16th year of being married. We have 2 boys. Our son is 15 and the other one is going to be 11 in July. Okay. And it's been great. So, I really owe a lot to the profession. My wife is by far a better CPA than I have been and will be. She's better relationally. She just provides so much wisdom and insight to me. And it's been really nice for my career because I have someone who appreciates, some of the demands of the work. It helps me manage my work-life balance a little bit better. And, she's just been so supportive. So I can't thank her enough.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I will say, though, it was funny to see the partner in charge of my group when I went into his office to let him know that we were getting married. Most of the people in the office had known at that point. He somehow didn't get clued in, and his jaw dropped, and he was pretty shocked by it at first. And then he had nothing but smiles and congratulations. But I wish I could have had it on video. It was fantastic.
I love it. Okay, so you've got 2 boys.
Yep.
And I always ask this question when anyone that I meet through the society says that they have kids. Are your kids going to go into the profession? Are they going to get the calling to maybe go back work on the farm, or are they going to go in a completely different direction?
Yeah. My boys are city boys through and through, so farm is probably not in their cards. We do get a chance to get out there, and we try and get them out there to expose them as much as possible. And my grandmother's still alive, so we feel it's really important to spend as much time with her as possible because, I feel like children today, there's not that many that have great grandparents that they get to spend meaningful time with. So it's really important we get out there. But yeah, they're not going to be farm kids by any stretch of the imagination. The oldest definitely shown proclivity towards math, science, maybe engineering. Will cite to be seen if accounting will be it. Younger one, same. He seems to be more math and science kind of focused, but he's only 10 at this point, so who knows? I think they see the rewards and the flexibility, and I make almost every single one of their games. I'm available to them. COVID, everything that was bad about it, the good thing that came about it was I had dinner with them every night. I had breakfast with them every morning for 18 months straight almost, which was something that I don't take for granted. Now that we're in a little bit more of a hybrid situation, it's still having dinner with them almost every evening, which has been great. And so I think, they'll see that as a great opportunity and what accounting could provide for them. But, just like me, I got to really define my own road for myself. I didn't have anybody pushing me one way or another. I'm going to be encouraging them to, look at your opportunities in front of you. And if accounting's the right one, that's great. I'm all there for you. If it's something else, then I'm going to be supporting them in that area too.
Okay, very good, very good. You touched on it a little bit, but can you talk to us a little bit about how you balance the demands of being a husband, being a father, being a partner at a large public accounting firm with everything else? We hear a lot about work-life balance as being one of the things that is potentially a barrier for people entering and staying in the profession. How have you been able to manage all that? Pre-COVID, post-COVID, it seems like COVID opened some doors for you though.
Yeah, it did. But even before that, I feel like I had pretty good balance. it really comes down to intentionality and ownership for me. I think too often and I'm trying to coach my staff on this, is, hey, the firms, the businesses are going to offer work-life balance as something that you can obtain, but it's on you to make sure that it happens, right? No one's looking at your schedule saying, oh, you don't have any vacation scheduled. Are you going to do that? I mean, maybe you'll get that from time to time, but in large part, it's on you. And so I've always taken the approach of, I want to make sure that I'm communicating with my teams, I'm looking at my schedule, but I'm keeping my priorities in order. And I think I've always taken the approach, as long as I've been at KPMG, as long as I can keep my priorities in order and I don't feel like the firm or my work is causing those priorities to get out of order, then I want to stay here. I'm a little bit of a helpless romantic. The idea of retiring from the same place that I started at, it has always been something that I really kind of have clung on to. And maybe that's why I'm still here. But also I think it's because I've been able to focus on those priorities and say, hey, Sundays for me have always been an important day. And so I haven't had to sacrifice those that often in order to make sure that I could still have that time with my family and be able to, keep the priorities in my life accordingly. Spending time with my wife and kids is another huge priority, and I need to make sure that I can balance that with the work that I have to do. And so sometimes that means, I do have to work weekends. And when I was younger in my career with young kids, it meant, working some late nights or putting the kids to bed and then working some hours afterwards. But I also had a job that allowed me that flexibility to do that. So I think it can be challenging at times. We have client responsibilities or we have job responsibilities, but if we're intentional about it, we communicate with our teams and we think about and keep our priorities in mind. I mean, this profession provides a tremendous amount of flexibility that I just see others, peers, friends of mine that, went to school with, you just don't get that same flexibility.
So my takeaway from that is, yes, you're going to put in the hours. Yes, you're going to work hard, but the rewards are going to be there as long as you're intentional about it.
I think that's a great way to summarize.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. Before we go to our last question, talk to me. What's one thing that the group wouldn't know about you that you find a lot of joy in?
Maybe that, I like to sit in a tree stand for, an ungodly amount of hours at times in sub-zero weather with a bow and arrow and, hunt deer and turkey every November, December, and maybe January if I get lucky. For me, it's a great, I'm not very successful. So I should say, I don't know if you call it hunting. It's kind of like fishing. Like if you don't catch it, are you really fishing or are you just sitting with your line in the water? I might spend most of my time just sitting in the tree, but for me, it's a great way to decompress, have my thoughts, just spend some time in peace and quiet, reflect on things for my family or whatever it is that maybe I haven't had a chance to really think about, and just kind of get away from the busyness of the city. But at the same time, it's funny, after a couple of days out in the woods, okay, I'm ready to get back, and it's a good recharge and everything else. So that might be one thing that people don't know is, I as cleaned up as I can be, I can get pretty disheveled at times as well.
I like it. So it was announced that I was taking over as president and CEO of the society, I think August 15th. We had lunch shortly thereafter. You shared with me that you had a Target set up in your backyard for most of the pandemic. It's probably still there.
It may be.
So when I got home from the lunch, I was asked, well, what was your takeaway from lunch with Jonathan? And I was like, he shoots targets with a bow and arrow in his backyard.
Yeah, not everybody could say that.
Exactly. So I'm waiting for the invitation to come over and try it out.
Yeah, we may need to go to a range for you.
I think there's one at Belmont.
Yeah, there's
right by the lake, right?
I go to that one quite often. For a lot of times I had the bow and arrow in my trunk of the car, and so on my way home I would stop off and shoot for 20 minutes before I was home, and just told Susie that I had to work late.
Now she knows. All right, so now to the important stuff. It's 2023. It's going to be a big year of change for the society. It's already a big year of change for the society. As we move forward together, I'm really looking forward to our partnership. What are the things that you're most looking forward to about your year as chair?
I'm really excited to, be part of your first year. I think that's exciting to me in terms of getting to see how the transition goes. It's gone so well so far, and So that's an exciting part of it. What comes with that is just getting to know you better and on a personal level. So I love building relationships and rapport and just, understanding, what makes you you. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to getting to meet a lot of our members. I don't get a chance to get out and among the state outside of being here in the city and visiting home from time to time. And so I really want to hear what issues they're facing. I think we have a great board. We've got, your staff is phenomenal at the society. We're doing so much, but there's so many issues to tackle. And the thing is right, there's no silver bullet, right? We got some really complicated issues that are going to take some complex solutions. And so it'll be interesting to hear what our members have to say about what are the issues they're facing, what are some of their perspectives on how they want to tackle them, so that we can, as an organization, I think, come alongside them, be a voice for them, whether it's with the AICPA or with legislators. And the privilege of being able to serve in this capacity is phenomenal. I'm just really looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Really appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon, and looking forward to the year ahead.
My pleasure. It's great getting to be able to share some stuff about myself, and I appreciate the opportunity and really looking forward to what this year has in store for us.